Don't know if you can see it, but this is our first snowfall of the year. I'm recording now even though it's dark because I don't know if it's going to stick, and I want to get the video on there or get some recording of it so that way I can post it on another video. We will see tomorrow if it's still on the ground or not. If it is, then I'll get some more footage of it. I don't know if I can show you this or not. Yeah, I can see it through the camera, but I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the final video. Hopefully, let me know. Bye, folks. So yeah, the snow is sticking and it's still coming down. Just about 4 more miles of snow to go. Howdy, folks. So, as you've seen at the beginning of this video, we got our first snow. It was cold, to say the least. Like a few days before that, it was 70 degrees, and then on my birthday, which was last Saturday, it was 70 degrees, and then Sunday night, it started snowing, and Monday morning. It was really weird, although it was real windy Saturday. But so anyhow, the topic of this video is going to be about rattlesnakes, and I'm gonna I got some pictures. I post some pictures as we go along, and explain to you what we have here and what we don't have here. But before we get started on that, I also wanted to add, Wednesday we went to the Petrified Forest. We were chaperoning. And so to satisfy Hugo's curiosity, no, Sylvia and I are not together anymore. We are still friends. Her and the kids still live out here on my property. And I still treat the kids like they're my own, and we're still working together in that aspect. So I was there chaperoning. It was a bit of a workout. As long as I've lived in Arizona, I've never been there. But it's just one of those things, it's a touristy area. I don't really like to go to touristy areas because it's full of tourists usually. So, and since I'm from here, it just seems, I don't know, just didn't want to bother myself with tourists. But it wasn't that bad. It was pretty neat seeing it. So anyhow, without further ado, the topic of the video. Many people, when they move out here, are told that we have Mojave greens out here. And I may have touched on this before, but I haven't dedicated a video to it. And everybody out here believes that we have Mojave greens because we have rattlesnakes out here that are green. First off, Mojaves most people don't call them Mojave greens. People in the business and that work with reptiles don't generally call them Mojave greens. We just call them Mojaves. There's no difference between a Mojave and a Mojave green. It's not a different species, a different subspecies. There's nothing. There's no difference. They're in certain parts of the Mojave range, they can be green. It's just based on where they live in parts of the range. There's no difference. Most Mojaves that you're going to find are going to be brownish. They're going to look very similar to Western Diamondbacks. So that means nothing. It's just a name. It's colloquial. It means nothing. But they believe out here there are Mojave greens. What we have, in fact, are green-colored prairie rattlesnakes. They are not Mojave. They're prairie. The prairie rattlesnakes range is huge. It's the largest of rattlesnakes. It goes all the way up in Canada. It's huge range. And Arizona is like the farthest west that it comes. For whatever reason, the terrain here, for whatever reason, they've become green here. In most of the range, they're not green. Where I grew up at in Texas, they were brown, sandy brown. Now I'm going to put pictures up to explain the difference so you can see the difference. So that way when people see it, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is what I've seen. Mojaves don't move this far east or north. They don't go any farther than the other side, the southern side of the White Mountains. It's too high of elevation for them. It's too cold. They're just not here. People can tell you that all they want, but it's not true. They're not here. Like I said, people just see a green rattlesnake and it must be a Mojave green. That's been perpetuated around here for years and years and years. People believe that. Back where I'm from, people believe, well, for one, they have the little packet they open. Oh, rattlesnake eggs, and they open it up, and if a washer spins around on a rubber band to make a rattle. Rattlesnakes don't lay eggs. Lots of people believe that, especially back where I'm from. Rattlesnakes don't lay eggs; they give live birth. Also, they believe that if a bull snake is rattling its tail, that means that it's crossbred with a rattlesnake. 100% not true. Many colubrid species in this country and even in other countries where rattlesnakes don't exist rattle their tail. They do it to try to make them seem like they're something that they're not, to scare wildlife and everything away from trying to predate on it. Another belief they have there is if you get bit by a bull snake, it'll make you sick. And there'll be people that'll tell you, oh, I know somebody who got bit or blah, blah, blah. No, they don't make you sick. People believe that they make you sick, so therefore, if they get bitten, they become sick. Their mind tells them that they're supposed to be sick, and they make themselves sick. They don't make you sick. Before I go on and I bring up pictures, and anybody's eyes gloss over saying, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I've been here this long, I know. I used to be a reptile keeper for the Phoenix Zoo. I've done this professionally, worked with reptiles. My collection of native species at the time from Arizona was so large and so diverse that the zoo asked me to donate some of my animals to them. I had a much more diverse collection than what they did. So I do know what I'm talking about. I don't mean to sound cocky or arrogant, but I've heard this so much that I want to clarify it. So yes, I do know what I'm talking about. I promise you, what you're seeing is not Mojave greens. Now, when you look at the pictures, the first one I'm going to put up is going to be the Mojave. I chose a picture of a green Mojave just for the comparison. If you look at its back, getting over cold, sorry. If you look at its back, the pattern is very diamond shaped. It's very similar to the Western Diamondbacks. They can be difficult to tell apart if you don't know what you're looking at. But it's a diamond pattern on its back. So that's what you're going to see next is a Mojave. All right. So that was a Mojave that you just seen. They are extremely venomous. Their venom is a cocktail of neuro and hemotoxic venom. The reason, more than anything that I'm doing this video, is because you have to know if you get bitten, you need to know that it's not a Mojave that bit you. There's the most popular anti-venom drug that they use is Crofab, which covers, it's good for covering lots of different species of rattlesnake instead of making it for just one species. Now, it works with Mojave, but some Mojaves have more neurotoxin in their venom than hemotoxin. Some may have more hemotoxin. It'll work well with those, but if you happen to get bit by one that's got more neurotoxin, you're going to want to know what bit you, because it's the Crofab might not work because it doesn't necessarily work for neurotoxins. It's made for hemotoxins. I'm not going to keep throwing the big words at you because I don't want to confuse anybody. But suffice it to say that you want to make sure that you really know what you're telling them that happened, what bit you. Sorry. It just makes sense to have a better idea what bit you. You can say, yeah, this is what bit me, just in case. So they know, they're prepared for when they have to take care of you and treat you. With that said, don't go screwing around with rattlesnakes if you don't know what you're doing. My best friend and I have been hunting together for years and years. When he first started getting into snakes, that's when we met. He was 19. I taught him everything I knew about it, and we've hunted together for years and years and years. And here a few years back, he got bit by a small Mojave that was one of his pets. It just clipped him with one fang on his finger. We rushed to the hospital. I happened to be there with him. We rushed to the hospital, and we drove really fast. It didn't take 5 minutes to get there. I swear to God, I thought we were going to wreck. But we got there because he was already in pain by this point. They put, I believe it was 12 vials of Crofab they used on him. They transported him to another hospital, and he wound up spending a few days in the hospital with this bite. And it wasn't a severe bite. It was only 12 vials. That's not a severe bite. Not at all. It was only one fang that got him, not two. That came out to like a $75,000 medical bill. And that wasn't a serious bite. If it would have been a big Mojave, bit him that really meant it and was pissed off, could have been much worse. It could have been way, way worse. He could have ended up losing a finger, losing a hand, a huge, huge medical bill, lots of vials of crowfab. So don't screw around with them, man. Just don't do it. It's not worth it if you don't know what you're doing. I mean, this guy, he knew what he was doing. He still got bit. It can happen. Fortunately, knock on wood, in all my years of dealing with rattlesnakes and I'm a big reptile fan. I've been catching them since I was a little boy. I caught my first rattlesnake at 14. I've never been bitten by a front fang venomous snake. Rear fang venomous has gotten me, but nothing serious, nothing I need medical attention for. So just don't do it. All right, so you've seen the Mojave. Now the next one that you're going to see is going to be the prairie rattlesnake. And it too, I chose a green face prairie rattlesnake because that is what you're going to see around here. If you look at the pattern on its back, it has ovals. The pattern is ovals. You can't really see the tails on either one of these, but there is a difference in the tails as well. And the heads. If you look at the heads, there's a difference in the heads, the shape and everything. But the most distinctive one that'll stand out, because obviously most people see a rattlesnake, they're not going to sit there and, get down and try to observe it and get close to it. So the most distinctive pattern is on its back, and the prairies have an oval pattern. So when you look at this next picture of the prairie, keep that in mind, and then look at that. Remember what you've seen on the Mojave, and now you'll see the differences. I think you'll find, if you made it this far into my video and haven't turned me off, that once you come across something out here, a rattlesnake, you'll look at it and you're like, oh, that's a prairie. That's the picture of the prairie rattlesnake. So you'll be able to identify it for what it is. It's possible there's other rattlesnakes out here. There possibly could be western diamondbacks, but I've never seen one yet. They're probably not very populated out here because this is pretty high elevation for them. But it is possible because western diamondbacks are just they're everywhere. But only thing I've seen, only thing I've ever heard anybody say they've seen has been the prairie. So we'll go with that. Past there, I have found lots of gophers out here, the gopher snakes. There's other species that live out here, but I have not found yet. So that's not, within the scope of this video. So we'll just leave it at that. Anyhow, check out this next picture of the prairie. So hopefully you guys can see the difference between them now that you've looked at a picture of the Mojave and a picture of the prairie. Obviously, if you don't want to take my word for it, feel free to Google it and pull up the pictures for yourself and look at them. Take them and bring them out, put them in your album, look at them side by side. I'm definitely all for going and researching for yourself. Don't just take somebody's word for anything. Just like don't take somebody's word for there being Mojaves out here. Do the research yourself. With that, I'm going to cut this video out. There's no need to keep going on about it. The topic is what it is. Just please do your research. Don't believe what you're told, because there's just a lot of wives' tales and things that people believe. It doesn't mean it's true. That's a popular beliefs in different communities. If you go to like the Apache County National Forest around the lakes, they've got Arizona blacks there. People up there call them the Arizona timber rattlesnake or just timber rattlesnake. They're not timber rattlesnakes. Timber rattlesnakes are completely different. They're back east. Timber rattlesnake is the rattlesnake that's on the Gadsden flag, the Don't Tread on Me Gadsden flag. That's actually a timber rattlesnake that's on there. But that's just what they call them out there. That's not their name. It's just a local name. Just like, say, Mojave Green. One of these days, I'll get over having this cold. It'll talk normal. So yeah, go research it for yourself. I encourage you to research it for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. But I hope you find this information useful and understand why it's important. That I feel it's important to make this video, because if you get bit, you really need to know what you got bit by. And you need to understand that there's no highly deadly rattlesnakes. Rattlesnake, Mojave is one of the deadliest of all rattlesnakes and one of the deadliest snakes in the world, venom wise. You need to know what got you. And they're not out here hunting you, trying to hunt you down and kill you. They just want to be left alone. Most bites occur when people start screwing with them. They don't go out looking for you. People see them. And majority of venomous snake bites in this country are either from people like me who keep them and study them and stuff like that, or drunk 20 and 30-year-old men. It's that's what statistics say. So don't screw with them. Leave them alone. They'll leave you alone. The mice out here are far more destructive than any rattlesnakes. Just leave them alone. Let them eat the mice. I'm going to have another video coming out. I'm making it today, right after this one. So the setting and everything is going to look the same. I'll put my sunglasses on, so, it looks a little different. The next video, we lost somebody. And it'll be explained there, but it's in memoriam video. I'd appreciate it if everybody would watch it. Even if you're, it's going to be boring to you, I'd still appreciate if you'd watch it. I'll put a link to the funeral home and everything there. So if anybody wanted to just drop by and give your condolences or something, I'd appreciate it. The family would appreciate it. So thank you. Have a great day. I hope you watched the video. I hope you learned something from it. I hope it didn't annoy you too much by my more bluntness. But take care. Be safe.